Hey, welcome to Game Brigade. I am Brian Greer, and today on the show, we're talking about all the games coming to either Kickstarter or GameFound, starting with the week of July 26th. So if you're looking for more information about all the Kickstarters coming out, stay tuned for the show because we got them coming up right now. Hey guys, welcome back again to the show. Again, we always do these preamble introductions to the show. So if you enjoy them, thank you for staying and watching. We have a few videos that we did. We did the 10 board games I'd like to start my collection with. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's a really good video. I enjoy talking about what I would like. Just know going into it that it's kind of a cultivated list in terms of what I own and what I would start with if I had to kind of start over again. We also talked about the games that were most interesting to me on Kickstarter and or GameFound, you know, any kind of crowdfunding sources. Basically what I did is I took all the recommendation lists from videos like the one you're watching today and talked about which ones I actually did like or didn't like after the campaign launched. So if you're looking for more information about my opinions on some of the Kickstarters once they've launched and kind of had a chance to look at their campaigns, you can watch that video for more information. And it's a good idea to, like, you know, maybe either get confirmation bias or help you decide on backing or not backing a game. So that's that. The last thing I want to do is I want to thank my two newest patrons to the Patreon. We've got Daniel and Ryan, both coming in at the subscriber tier. Thank you guys for supporting me on Patreon and helping the channel do what we're doing here. I truly do appreciate it. So with that, we can go ahead and jump to the first game. So let's go and click the button. Look at that. That was so quick and easy. So the first game we're going to have is Synchronized, and this is coming out July 26th to Kickstarter. And I will say up front, there's going to be a lot of solo games, deduction games, and like deduction memory games and party games in today's list, I think. So just know that I'm going to be a little quicker on some of these games because they are lighter, they're more family-oriented, such as Synchronized. So this is going to be a card game with memory where players are going to be laying out cards in a certain amount, like say like this example is a perfect example. You're going to be getting the top row of cards, and this is your routine in practice. And then you're going to go to the actual event where you're going to have to recall this exact order by placing these cards face down. So these cards will be all turned face down. You're then going to place your cards face down, and then one at a time, each team will reveal their card to see if they are matching in the order. For every one you have correct, you will score a point. You will do this in 4 rounds, with each round adding another card to your routine, increasing the difficulty. It sounds like a fun, little interesting game, especially if you're someone who likes the water sport for synchronized, water sports. And to be honest, that's actually a really cool sport. I don't know if you've seen any of the Olympic coverage or the trials. Really cool stuff for what they do with that sport. This is a game coming out to, like I said, on Kickstarter, July 26th. Memory, team-based game. Look for it on Kickstarter. The next one we'll be taking a look at is Lots Filled In. And this is telling me to translate in Spanish. I've been having this. You guys can't see this, but all my Kickstarter pages have been defaulting to Spanish. So I had to come down here and click English. No idea why it's doing that, but there you go. So this is Lots Filled In. This is coming out on the 26th as well. And this is a roll and write game where players are going to be drafting dice. Then they are going to be rolling the dice, but you're first going to have to lock in one dice to decide the shape and one dice to decide the color. And once you've done that, you will then roll it and draw whatever shapes you have to complete your construction. When a player is unable to complete a row or a segment, the game ends. So I am not a big roll and write. In fact, I've never actually played a true roll and write. My first one, my first roll and write is going to be Roar and Write, coming with Dinosaur World, but I haven't gotten that yet. So I've kind of been staying away from roll and writes until I really know if it's for me. But this one, I like drafting. I like dice rolling when it's used appropriately. So this could be interesting. And this is coming out on Kickstarter July 26th. And this is kind of, I wouldn't say an expansion, but it's a take on the original Lots by Royal Inn Games. So if you're interested in that setting or in terms of that IP, you should check this game out. Run! Get to the chopper! A solo tabletop adventure! Obviously, now that I've just literally scared you guys out of your mind, we have Get to the Chopper, a solo tabletop adventure by Sam Milham, and this is a game where players are going to be going on a solo adventure through South America, basically facing the most absurd tropes you could imagine from action movies, from dinosaurs to robots to zombies to Nazis. Anything you can imagine, you're going to be facing. Players are going to be rolling dice and then assigning their dice to different categories on their player board as they then traverse through these territories, dealing with different types of situations, either ambushes, minefields, finding fallen soldiers, finding loot, and you are going to push your luck as you decide where you're going to be placing your dice as you go through. Again, another solo game, another rolling game, pushing your luck, seeing how you go. And this one is actually coming out on July 27th. So if you're looking for that, check it out on Kickstarter. Okay, so Divinus. This is one that I mentioned in my games you should know about for July. This is the last game that we're going to be covering from that list. And they do have a click to follow to receive a $5 credit to follow the campaign. So make sure you are following this if you would like to have that €5 credit applied to your pledge. Now, Divinus is a game where it's also another dice rolling game, tile placement game, also wrapped in a legacy shell. Now, I have watched several different playthroughs of different scenarios so far from Board Game Co. If you haven't seen his playthroughs, I think it's actually probably the best way for you to really understand that this game, Divinus, might be for you. The scenarios are about 30-minute segments each, which is relatively palatable for trying to watch a playthrough, which is good. But effectively what's going to happen is you're going to be rolling your dice, and then you're going to be assigning your dice either by adding or subtracting the numbers together to match certain types of tiles laid on the board. And then you're going to take those tiles, you're going to form a 4x4 grid, basically aligning the land, the mountain, the plains all together, forming some sort of land space, while also managing different types of symbols on those tiles for different types of missions or in-game events, such as like Greek soldiers or Viking soldiers, whatever it may be. And then the game will score at the end of every round, or at the end of the game, it'll score to like who has the most island pieces, who has the largest island continual space, who has the largest mountains region, etc. And then there's a legacy element where as you complete certain types of things, you're going to input that into the app. This is another app-based game where you were then going to take stickers and place them on dice, changing the dice effects in terms of the die face, adding stickers to your tiles to change some of the results that those tiles may have, or adding stickers to your boxes to show kind of feats and things that you have completed. Originally, I will say this, I was very high on Divinus because of my impression of Destinies was so good, and I really was excited to see what the unlocks and the legacy element would have. But based on my playthrough, I'm a little, not on my playthrough, but based on watching Alex from Board Game Co.'s playthrough, I'm a little light on it. It's not quite as heavy or as exciting as I was hoping it to be. I'm still going to offer it my recommendation thumb because of the pedigree of Lucky Duck, and I think that maybe there will be more here as the campaign kind of fleshes itself out. But overall, I mean, everything I've kind of described to you is here on the campaign, clearly visible. You can see some of the legacy elements in terms of how it works. We get an idea of how the app works, but I'm kind of seeing like, okay, how does this flesh itself out in terms of its legacy implementation? How does the legacy affect the gameplay? You know, whenever I play a legacy game so far, they've been very, very exciting, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs as things are changing within the game. I want to know more about Divinus if that's going to capture that same kind of moment. I've lasted way too long on this game for this series, so we're going to move on. This is coming on the 27th. Okay, also launching the 27th is Limbo Eternal War 1.5. And Limbo, now this is the original Limbo. Limbo Eternal War is a skirmish game where players are going to be either facing with the light or the dark side, and you're going to be drafting your armies within a certain types of constraints. So you're going to be allowed a certain amount of army points, and every unit is going to be worth a certain amount of points. So you're going to have to kind of form your army based on these constraints, building your units, and then you're going to go to battle. From what I hear, the original Limbo has had some difficulties with the rule book, and that's probably why this 1.5 is coming out. Sounds like they're trying to fix some of the complexities or the understanding of how the rule book is listed, and they're also going to be improving a little bit of the miniatures here. A lot of the miniatures, from what I'm seeing when I went back and looked at Limbo's Kickstarter page and read some of the comments, a lot of broken pieces like broken arms or missing shields, and they are replacing them. But some of the replacements are taking longer than people are anticipating. So there's a couple of red flags for me on Limbo, especially the fact that they had to do a 1.5 to fix the rulebook. I'm always kind of like, ooh, you know, I want to see this rulebook in the Kickstarter before I pledge anything. So this is going to be, you know, a warning sign to people. You know, if you're looking at Limbo, which could be good, King of Average was very high on the original Limbo. But double check the rulebook. Make sure there's a rulebook posted and read it. I don't normally read every rulebook that I'm going to back for a Kickstarter, but when there's signs that there potentially can be some sort of problem there, I double check and reference you guys to, you know, look into that a little more, especially if you're going to be dropping a couple $100 on a miniatures war game. Okay, coming out July 27th as well is Road Trippin, the license plate game. And this is a game, another party game where players are going to be taking their vanity plates here, and they're going, this is a perfect example, they're going to attempt to draw or write out a saying or slogan based on the text that you receive from the draw. So you're going to draw, let me see if I can find an example. Here you go. You're going to draw a card like this. Easy Does It, or Jumbo Shrimp, Guitar Solo, or Honeysuckle. This is a perfect example. And you're going to have to take one of these slogans and write out that word or phrase that someone could be able to guess it using only the available characters. You get more points the less characters you use, and if you include numbers in your vanity plate. So there are ways to play this, and the idea of this game is this is a game we've all grown up playing as kids. This might be a fun board game, and I actually do give them the fact that it is a unique idea that I haven't seen before. So good on them for coming up with a cool idea that probably, I'm surprised, hasn't been designed. Party games, again, not really up my alley. I don't really play party games, but I give them props. The game looks interesting, looks fun. Probably good for me for a few plays, but if you're interested in something like this, definitely check out the Kickstarter. Okay, coming out the 27th is The Road, and not a lot of information about that. I found this website that was in French and had it translated, and it basically says that The Road is a single-player game in a post-apocalyptic world based on 120 different maps for 30-minute sessions each time. Now, The Road, this does not seem like it's based on the book or movie The Road, but it's set on like the exact same setting, which is interesting. Could see some copyright infringement there, you know, because it's not based on the IP. But you'll basically have to survive 6 days by facing each day a certain number of road maps, which will define your route. So you're going to be revealing map tiles, looking for the best route. The decisions you make will have different types of outcomes, and you'll have to use your abilities to basically overcome whatever types of obstacles you can have. Not a lot of information, as I said, on this one for me to give you guys that detailed. No Board Game Geek link. And of course, the only information I was able to pull was that little snippet from that French website. But I am interested to see what the rest of the page and campaign looks like once this launches on the 27th. Okay, the next game, which I don't have a very interesting page here, but Quotable is coming to Kickstarter. And this is basically a game where players are going to draw a card, and it's going to have different types of movie quotes on it, and you're going to have to charade act out the movie quote. So another party game, definitely a game for, this is literally how I this is how I look in party games. Actually not true. I'm not that much of a downer, but that guy looks like a downer. This actually reminds me, though, in 6th grade I played this game in English class, and I had it wasn't a movie quote, but it was a movie that I had to reenact a scene from, and I got The Rock. This is totally going off a little bit, but I got The Rock, so I reenacted the scene from the bathroom scene. I don't know if you guys have seen that. And everyone in the class had no clue what I was talking about, and I was very embarrassed. And I still remember that 6th grade English class, actually 7th grade English class, reenacting The Rock. So this game brings back some flashbacks of that experience of me not being able to reenact the movie. But here's some quotes: "Life's a garden, dig it." Joe Dirt. Again, and this is basically, you had to be a cinephile to really, I think, embrace this. You have to be able to see these movies and have a good idea. Like The Wedding Crashers, these are movies I've seen, but I haven't seen them in 20 years. So there you go. That's Quotable, coming to Kickstarter as well on July 27th. Okay, Lumeria, War of the Gods. This is coming out the 27th as well. And what I could find out from this one is it's going to be an area control dice rolling game. Grid movement, asymmetrical powers. Unfortunately, almost every video here is in Polish, so I wasn't able to get any actual information for the game. But going through the pictures, we have some remnants of both Scandinavian and Slavic lores. And basically the idea is the game says that you're going to be playing different gods. So I'm assuming maybe gods from different types of religions, because they also have some Roman guys. And let's see, here's some Greek soldiers, and you got some Roman-looking guys earlier. Where are the Roman guys? I know I saw some Roman guys. So anyways, it looks like you've got people from all over the world in terms of their ethnic diversities. And so you might be having different gods from different types of ethnicities facing against each other in a battle. Again, not a ton of information, and all the videos are in Polish, so I'm kind of curious what this one looks like. I'm going to give this a recommendation just because I like everything I'm seeing in terms of the direction here, but again, I really want to see more once the campaign launches to get a really good feel of what it is. I do see that if you click on ratings, you're going to see that there's a whole bunch of people from Poland who have rated this game. The company that is making this is Polish, and that means that they've gotten a lot of playtesting in and gotten people to rate the game and review the game after the playtesting, which is great because this is a lot better source that shows that the company has at least taken this game through at least some play testing, and you get some interesting ideas from that. So that's good, because a lot of times you don't get ratings on these games with a lot of accuracy. So I think that's a really good option there. So that's Lumeria, War of the Gods. Okay, we got Feuding Foodies, team-based game, Take That Mechanics. In this game, basically players are going to be taking some cards, and each player in a team will take their cards secretly, so you're not going to be able to tell people what you have, and you're going to try to build some recipes or build some items by playing your cards out, and you're going to try to maybe steal some of your opponent's cards by egging them or doing some sort of take that mechanics. Lighter card game, not really up my alley in terms of my taste and interests. If you read this, they're very much about puns. I'm not a pun guy, so it's hard for me to really get too involved in this one. But Feuding Foodies coming out to Kickstarter on the 27th. Okay, Architects of the West Kingdom, Works of Wonder. This one's going to be my pick of the week, and with a little hyphen on that, because it's a expansion to Architects of the West Kingdom. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't own any of the Architects games. I haven't any of that line from Garfield Games I've never actually owned, but there are people in my player group who are just head over heels in love with this franchise. And so this is going to be the next expansion in the Architects of the West Kingdom, where they're going to be adding some additional resource management as well as options for gaining different types of resources and prestige throughout the game, most notably through the Profiteer and the Princess, which is going to have a alternative spending option, and basically you're going to be trying to build some wonders for the king. But the way you do that and the way you score points, here's that thing I was talking about. You have this prestige marker. You get more prestige by using the Profiteer, but then the Princess will help you actually build the wonders. So you're going to have to use those worker placement options to the best of your advantage, utilizing both their skill sets to, handle it. Workers, the Architects of the West Kingdom has seemed to be a very good worker placement game. An engine builder, I've never, as I said, played the game, but my friends and my player group are just always talking about it. So I'm interested to see the campaign, see if it's worth diving into, or potentially waiting for retail. The last game I'm going to be covering today is the Lost Code. And this one's a little interesting, also coming out on the 28th. This one, basically, players are going to be trying to deduct what numbers they have on their board while seeing what their opponents have. And you're going to be rolling around dice, going down this board, and also utilizing these markers to try to figure out what these tiles are first, faster than your opponents. The components look really good. I think this game could be an interesting family game or a game for younger children if that's something you're looking for, or it could be, a shorter venture. I don't suspect that this would last long in my personal collection, but I do appreciate how good this game looks from these guys. So that is the Lost Code, a deduction dice rolling paper and pencil based game. So that's it. So let's go ahead and cut back to the main camera. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. A lot of games not as high on my priority order this week. Only 2 games made my recommendations, right? Well, technically 3. So I'll have all those links down below for your convenience, as well as timestamps. Again, you're at the end of the video, so timestamps, mentioning that now is kind of pointless. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So if you have any questions, guys, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Leave comments down below. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Get to the chopper. Run. 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 Run.